gonna come. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. Yeah! Yeah!
Are we having fun yet? Are we having fun yet? Yeah, I know. I'm late again today. I'll explain in a bit. But we are here. I am here. It's Valentine's. Look at the day outside. It's a day of love and giving. And Mother Nature decided to bless us with the beautiful blue skies. But yep, what you see there, we did have some snow. This was the view outside my window around this time yesterday. What a difference a day makes. That's right. Look at that. Craziness. Craziness. But today is good. It is nice. It's Valentine's. Your Valentine for the morning is here. So let's get started. It's 6 minutes past the hour, 11 a.m. A nice 30 degrees outside here in New York City, coming to you live from Queens, New York. Good morning! Good morning, y'all. Happy Valentine's Day. If you are watching live, I appreciate those of you who decide to join and be my Valentine. Be my Valentine. I'm your Valentine. Not only today, but every day. So always remember that. Valentine's Day is never just one day. The day of love should be celebrated all year round. Oh my God, all the corny bullshit. Let's go. Let's go with all that nonsense. Star-Lord, I see you. Spreading the love. Let's go.
I'm gonna come.
So yeah. So I am late today. Last minute call I had to jump on. Very unexpected. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. I'm going to be late to the stream once again. So I do apologize for that. But like any date, especially on this Valentine's Day, I am fashionably late. There you go. So everyone is my Valentine. I'm having an affair on mankind. Let's go. Wow. Sweetness. All right. How's everyone doing today? As I gather myself up here. I'm doing good. It's been a busy week for me so far. But yeah, like I said before, we had crazy snow here yesterday. The first major snowfall of the season. So, of course, what did everyone do? Everyone flocked to Central Park and went nuts. I did not, because I'm in Queens, not Manhattan. Instead, I just paid attention and tried to wipe off the snow from my car like everyone else. And tried keeping warm. So it's a nice day today. That's good. What's the temperature where you're at right now? I'm pretty sure it's a nice temperature. I don't know if you saw earlier, but this is today. This was yesterday. Woo! What a difference a day makes. So yeah, it's nice that we're having this great day here. Here to spread the love all around. up and down. So, topics for today. Obviously, it's Valentine's Day, and there are two movies that are released in theaters today that are seeking your love, and that is Madam Web and Bob Marley, One Love. Now, Madam Web's getting all tons of love this week because the review embargo lifted yesterday, and everyone is spreading the love of Madam Web in their own way. So I thought it would be interesting to look at some of the reviews for Madam Web. I already knew that this movie was going to be a hot piece of garbage. I knew it was going to be on that Morbius level. Is it Morbius or Mobius? Why do I keep getting confused there? I think I'm getting confused too because you had Owen Wilson's character on Loki. His name is Mobius, right? So the damn vampire, it's Morbius, right? And I'm also thinking of that artist named Mobius from back in the day who I met and he drew me a very awesome Silver Surfer drawing. Because he did a run of Silver Surfer, a limited run, and it was amazing. It's Morbius. Okay, I just looked it up. That was a hot piece of garbage, and people are now saying that it is along the same lines. Madam Web is along the same lines. It truly feels like Sony is keeping the tradition and the heart of those really bad, crappy superhero movies that we got like in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. Oh shit, Star-Lord just said the same thing. Yeah, so far not good reviews for Madam Web. It's compared to early 2000s. See? It's nice that, it's nostalgia. That's, we always look at nostalgia and we fawn over nostalgia. And maybe this is Sony's way of saying, you know what? This is our homage to the crappy movies that came out during that time. We're keeping that alive. We're keeping that going. But my gosh, how bad can it be? How bad can you make a movie? And based on interviews that Dakota Johnson has made, it sounds like there were a ton of changes made to this movie before she got there, after she got there. So it sounds to me like this movie was just doomed from the beginning. Doomed. Stream elements in the chat. Oh, I am in a mood this morning. All right. I am in a mood. So yeah, the two movies, we'll briefly preview them, I guess, talk about those for a bit. And as usual, we'll talk about headlines and my binge of the week. Nothing huge. I wasn't able to really watch any series this past week, but I did watch something that I did want to talk about here on the stream because since we are on the topic of love and spreading love and caring, I watched this really nice documentary that, speak of nostalgia, brought me back to the 80s. And that is that new Netflix documentary called The Greatest Night in Pop. So I'll talk about that a little later in the show. So let's have fun here. Let's quickly talk about Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is a fabricated holiday. It's so funny how, well, like with any holiday, how commercialized Valentine's is. I remember growing up, and I don't know, let me know if you did this too in school. But did you have on Valentine's Day, did you buy like those really crappy Valentine's cards that you would buy from a pharmacy or from like I guess Targets or Walmarts? I don't remember what was in the 80s. In here in New York, we had Woolworths, we had um Alexander's, J.C. Penney's, Macy's. Um, we didn't have Target or Warm or Walmart, but we had. I guess Woolworth would be like the equivalent here in New York. But you would go there and you buy like this package of really crappy Valentine's cards. Sometimes you could buy them with like characters on them. So whatever character that was popular at the time. So it was usually like, I guess for me, it would have been like He-Man, She-Ra, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and something kitty would be like Smurfs, right? And you would buy these and then you were allowed to kind of hand them out to your classmates. Now, what I always did is that I bought that stuff and I handed those cards out to my classmates. But if there was this one girl that I really, really liked, I made sure that she got the most out of everything. And I vividly remember, I believe this was in, I want to say, third grade. Third grade. Yeah, third grade. There was this one really pretty girl in my class. And I was like, oh, this is my chance. You know, I'm going to give her like the best stuff. You know, I'm going to get her a special card just for her. Going to get her this nice box of chocolates, you know, and I was going to wait till the end to give her her present last. Because the crappiest thing to do is start handing out these cards to everyone. And then all of a sudden, oh, and by the way, you get this big giant package, right? Oh, and then you next to her, okay, you get this card and you get this card. So that's usually like the crappiest thing to do, right? So I made sure to wait till later and I gave her this package. And you can tell she was so used to it by now. Because on her desk was 4 or 5 other big packages that other guys decided to get her too. It was so funny. We're dumb. As kids, we are so stupid. We would do these crazy, crazy things. But I remember that was a big thing for us. Hold on, I want to look up something because I and then it reminded me like that Simpsons episode with Ralph, and you know, like how he had that crush on Lisa, and he had that special card that he gave her, like I choose you. It was cards like that was just so ridiculous, right? I want to look up and see if we could find some of these throwback cards from the 80s. Oh yeah, the strawberry shortcake was on them. I mean, I doubt I'm going to be able to find any of the cards that I personally bought, if I can even remember how they looked like. But man, I'm seeing some of these right now, and these are damn hilarious. Hold on, I'm gonna share my screen. So yeah, so you had cards like this, the strawberry shortcake card, right? Valentine, your tops. Happy Valentine's Day. Strawberry shortcake was huge when I was a kid. And then, you know, you had like these kind of pairings together. I like you, a bushel and a peck. Valentine's Day. Oh my God, these are so dumb. Oh, what happened to my images? Okay. Let's see what else they had here. Now I don't remember these. Some of these, I feel like these are new creations. Like this Billy Idol one. I feel like that's like a new creation here. You had Donald Duck. What's this one? Happy Valentine's Day. That's all. No present, no money, nothing. Just a that looks very that looks very Donald Duck like. Um, let's see here. I guess I have to be more specific. Star-Lord, remember the principal from Billy? Yes, yes. Oh my God, that was so hilarious and so creepy at the same time. And how he'd be staring, like. Oh, and it wasn't the principal also like he had a secret identity, like he was a luchador wrestler or something like that. Oh, here's one I remember actually. Oh my God, Alf. This was a sticker too. How about a hug for the old Alfer? I remember this. Let's go. Holy cow, that is crazy. And here's another one. Alf, be mine. Yeah, stickers were also big back then. I remember that. That was crazy. Let me see. Let's see if I can do this. How about He-Man? I believe there were some He-Man Valentine's things that they did back. Oh, look at this one. Jabba the Hutt, because nothing sends Valentine's Day like Jabba the Hutt. You are commanded to have a happy Valentine's Day. Uba waga chunga langa. That's right, I'm horny. Then Chewbacca to you on Valentine's Day. That's what it sounded like. You had C-3PO, Valentine greetings, you motherfucker. Oh, man. Oh, look at this one with Wicket here. Happy Valentine's Day to a special friend. I Chihuahua. Oh, man. Seeing these, seriously, it's like an interesting throwback to a time. Look, I don't know if this was done back then. Frenemies Forever. I feel like that's fabricated. That's something new to look nostalgic. Oh, look at this. You had Garfield. You're number one. Well, these are the Popples, right? Poppums or whatever. One question, Valentine. Is your middle name Fun? Be mine. There with his little doggy. What else? Grover. Look at you, Wonder Woman and Superman. Hi, let's be pals. Look at this chunk one from the Goonies. Valentine, chocolate truffles make me shuffle. This can't be like a real one from back then. This has to be new, right? Someone made this up right now or like recently. But that's the best. That's the best. Oh man. I wish I kept some of them. Because a lot of them from back then, I mean, it's just a nice throwback to a period in time that is hard to recapture today. And again, it's a marketing gimmick, right? So, oh, look at this. Turn off the lights and meet me after midnight. That's right. Let's go.
I'm gonna come.
That is, oh, look at this. See, yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. Excuse me. They would come in boxes like this, right? And it'll just be multiple cards in one box. So it said 4 cards included on back of box with non-mailable envelopes. So those are just special editions, but they would all come in boxes like that. And yeah, I remember buying these things like an idiot kid that I was. See, you had Sesame Street, Muppets. Muppets, of course, was huge during that time when I grew up. Which isn't anymore the case, which is kind of sad. Sesame Street, the Muppet Babies, holy shit. Wow, look at that. Oh no, but this is like a storybook. That's not a Valentine's Day package. I said package.
I'm gonna come.
Yeah, there's just so many. I wish there was like an easier way to search for these things. But yeah, it's such a nice trip down memory lane when you see all of this stuff. But I remember vividly having done this. Oh, look at this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Valentine, your Mondo to the max. We were made for each other. Cowabunga, you're heavenly. Oh, they're so cringe. This is so funny. Oh man, I'm laughing so hard it's making me cry. No, actually, these are just my allergies. Oh, the memories, memories all along in the moonlight. All right, knock it off. But yeah, oh yeah, look at this. See, DC Comics Superheroes Valentines. 36 Valentines plus 2 teacher cards. That's right. They made cards just for teachers too that you could give to your teachers. Because you would do that. You Oh man. Star-Lord, the Turtles wouldn't say that. That's true. They wouldn't. Oh man. I wonder what kids do today. Like I doubt that they still do this stuff, because wouldn't that be considered kind of crossing the line a bit? Oh, look at this. It's like a combo picture. Look at all of these. You have Barbie, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, DuckTales, Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers, Power Rangers. Oh, look, here's more. Oh no, these are not. Those are like those cards. Star-Lord saying, the Turtles would say, would you be my sewer rat? I don't know. I don't think the Turtles like rats so much. If anything, they would say pizza, right? Say, would you be the topping on my slice? Oh, give me a slice, or I'll have you with some extra cheese on top. What? Michelangelo.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Stop it. How could you? You little dirty boy. All right. Yeah, I think that's enough of a trip down memory lane there. Look, here are some of the DC ones. Oh my god, this is so funny. You are a real catch. Good job, Aquaman. I'm flying high for you, Valentine. Here's Batman. Swing along with me. You're special. And then poor Flash. Let's be friends. Come on, there had to be. I'm only seeing DC now. There has to be some like Marvel, right? Marvel Valentine's cards, right? There has to have been some. From the 80s, cards from 80s. We're giving too much love to DC right now. Okay, here we go. We got some here. Here's Spider-Man. Won't you stick around, Valentine? Let's hang out together. Oh, here we go. I'll fight to be your Valentine. That's right, Captain America. Look at this is so like straight edge. It's like, will you be my Valentine friend? I like this modern one. I want you to be my Valentine. That's a modern take on that. Let's see if there are any other winners here. Oh, here's Wolverine. Happy Heart Day, bub. I love how they have to make sure that they have like these copyrights. 1992 Marvel, made in the USA. Is that look sharp, Valentine? Some of these are so dumb. But we didn't care. As a kid, you did not care. Because you were just a fan of this stuff, right? So of course you bought it up. And you thought it was like the best stuff ever. Look at this, 1979. Oh, we're on eBay now. Okay. 1979 Marvel Heroes Valentine's Day cards. And this person wants $75 for this. From Hallmark. And they're rare. No, thanks. You can keep those. Oh, wait, hold on. I saw something from Batman the Animated Series here. Here we go. What are these? Catwoman saying, no, kitten, you're terrific. Batman, have an action-packed Valentine's Day. Penguin says, dropping in with Valentine wishes. And Riddler, who's a special Valentine? You. Oh, man. Look at that. They have X-Men ones. 30 X-Men Valentines. Includes non-mailable envelopes. I love how they have to specify that. You can't mail them. But we're going to give you some envelopes. Because these are made just for handing out. Max chiming in, rough stuff. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Let's see what other cards they have here. Oh, we got some more DC ones. Here you got Amazing Spider-Man Valentines, 32. This was in 1993. In 93, I was in... Yeah, I was too old for that. I was like in junior high. I think I was like close to... No, 93, I was already in high school. Shit, I'm old as fuck. Let's go. Yeah, I didn't do that back then. Back then, I did more stupid stuff. I actually gave my crushes flowers. Because I'm a dope. Maybe that's why I'm still single.
Wow.
You blew it!
Yep. That's me. Let's see here. Come on, I want to see like some He-Man ones. There have to be some He-Man ones. He-Man and She-Ra. Or Gem. Gem in the holograms, right? What the hell is this? Hot or cold, you make my engine rev? What? Who would want to give that away? That's that cartoon where the guy turns into a car. I remember that. Oh, here's Rainbow Bright. Happy Hearts Day. She was another big thing back in the 80s. I remember. Yeah, look at these. Have a Valentine's Day that's rainbow bright. I forgot what the boy counterpart of her was. What is this one? Valentine Be Mine? Oh, this is Barbie. Yeah. Of course Barbie would have a ton of them because they marketed them to girls too. And girls would give the boys in the class these cards as well. Oh, yes, here we go. Talk about epitome of 80s right now. California raisins. That is what I'm talking about. Can you guys see okay? I apologize if it's too small. But you're a real prize. I'm riding high for you. Hope I'm on the right trail. Be mine. You're a treat. And he's serving whatever that thing is. Wow, you're great. California raisins. Oh, man. It's funny how these characters became so popular when they're mainly created just to promote it was like this California Raisin Society or institution or growers or something like that. So they were created to just promote raisins, people to buy more raisins. And all of a sudden it became a big hit because those commercials became popular. And for like at least a year, they were like the biggest shit. I remember, like, I used to love these guys. I used to have the little figurines. They did a Christmas special, and it was all done in that claymation form. And it was just so popular. It's crazy how popular that became off of a commercial. But that's how things were in the 80s. I mean, things would just blow up, and everything that was big or had a moment had a window, whether it be a couple months, half a year. They were like the biggest thing, and then on to the next one, right? I don't know how it is now with kids today, but I feel like certain things last a little longer. There's not like that quick turnaround. But as an 80s child growing up, oh my God, that's why I'm not surprised that a lot of my generation nowadays are like diagnosed with like ADD and all that, because they kept throwing shit at us all the time. They were marketing. I mean, look at this. Transformers. Valentine, my matrix of leadership belongs to you. I mean, crazy. What is this? Shirt Tails. I remember the stupid cartoon. Work of art. That's what one of the cards says there. Work of art. Shirt Tails was that cartoon from the 80s where you just had these like animal creatures living around, walking around, and their shirts would change with messaging of like, I'm in danger, or watch out, or some like phrase of encouragement or something. Is that be my dad in the force? No, says all the Star Wars fans. Oh, that's a good one. Let's look up some Star Wars Valentine's cards. Come on, they had to have. I'm sure they made some when the prequel came out, right? With Anakin and Padme. Oh, here we go. What is this? Force. Oh my God. They made some for The Force Awakens? So I guess they still do this, huh? What is this? Okay, this is on eBay right now. 34 Valentines with 35 tattoos. Wow. So not only can you give a card to your crush, but you could mark them too. I mark you to be mine, woman. Or boy. Could go either way. Oh, let's look at some of these. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Courage, justice, and loyalty, my Valentine. My first order. The first order, my Valentine. Happy Valentine's Day. Join the rebel forces, my Valentine. Oh my God, they're so generic. Join the resistance, my Valentine. Or crush the resistance. Be evil with me. Oh, wow. I had no idea they still made these. That's insane. What else do we have here? Oh, look. From 1997, 30 stand-up valentines. So you could like I guess plop them on the desks. Be my counterpart. You're my only hope. Oh my gosh. That sounds so desperation. You're one in a million. Great shot, kid. I was 1 in a million. That is crazy. Let's see if we could find some vintage ones. I would love to see if they're... Oh, wait. What is that? Oh, look at this. This is what I'm talking about here. There's good old Anakin. 30 foil valentines includes 34 folds. 34 folds. You blew it! Seal cards with seals. What the hell is a seal card? All right, we gotta look at some of these. Here's Anakin wishing you'll be a chosen one on Valentine. Here's Mace Windu. This party is just starting. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. May the Force be with you on Valentine's Day. Always a pleasure. A happy Valentine's Day you will have. They even have it in the Yoda speak. Happy Valentine's Day you will have. I can't even read the rest because of the light. C-3PO, I'll certain you'll find a splendid counterpart. Here's Padme. Take care of yourself on Valentine's Day. Here's the one character that no one really cares about, but they had to include. Hope your Valentine's Day is right on target. Oh, no. Star-Lord, I would hate to see the Kylo Ren Father's Day version. Oh, no. Yeah, that would be kind of rough. That would be pretty rough. Oh, here are some real vintage ones from 84. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. I don't even know if I remember any of these. 20. Oh, you could tell that they were marketing kids and students for this. Like, look at this. 28 classroom Valentines plus 3 teacher and 1 principal. Envelopes are included, non-mailable. Just in case you didn't know that. Wow. Too bad. Do we have any samples? Oh, here's one. What does it say? Have a Valentine's Day that's out of this world.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Too bad it's not open. I want to see what else is inside. My God, it's so funny. It is just really funny looking back at this stuff. And it's actually really funny to find out that they still make them. I had no idea that they still made these things. Obi-Wan can hold me. That's it. I think you should, at Star-Lord, I think you should write for these companies. You should get a part-time gig at Hallmark, and your specialty is to write Valentine's Day card messages for the Star Wars brand. Because that is priceless. That is a good one. I like that one. All right, I'm gonna do one last search here. What do kids like today? Bluey? Do you think they made any Bluey Valentine's Day cards? Let's see. Oh, they did. They sure did. Unless these are just custom made, because I see Etsy Etsy. Like, I want to see if there are some like legit official cards that were made. It looks like a lot of these are just Etsy made. Yeah. Because Bluey's the big shit right now, right? And that's what I hear a lot of my friends with kids say. Yeah, Hobby Lobby has, that's not even Valentine's Day. Wait, Disney princesses? Oh, no way. Did they actually make these, or is this another Etsy product? Because I can totally see them make these. I can totally see them make, here we go. Disney Princess, 32 Valentines. Wow. Can we see some samples? Here you have Disney Princess Valentines. What is this? Now you can't really see that. Oh man, these are hilarious. None of them are showing any sample. Oh, wait, here's back of the box. So at least we could kind of see this. Oh, but they're not clear. But like the one on top, trust your heart, Valentine. Oh, I can't read the rest though. It's so unclear. But there you go. Yeah. Nice little nostalgic trip down memory lane. That apparently it's still something that they do. So who knew? Who knew that this was still a thing? But yeah, that is amazing. That's so funny. I can't get over it. It's just so funny. It's too funny to me. All right. Let's see. Let's talk about let's do this. I want to talk about this documentary that I watched. Actually, no. Let's look at Madam Web. I want to see some of these Madam Web reviews that came in. Let's take a look at some of them. So today on Valentine's Day, since it's such a commercial day now, they decided to market it where they decided to release Madam Web and Bob Marley One Love in theaters today. Why Madam Web? I don't know, but I guess they're placating to the men out there, because if you saw the movie poster of this movie, you would think it was a porn parody, because it looks like a porn parody. You have Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, and they're, very attractive ladies. But Sony is they're just churning out these movies. Almost like as if they don't make a movie a year, they may lose the license. I don't know if that's true or not. But that's what it feels like, because I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're planning. I read something yesterday, the writer of this film and what they wrote in the past, and it makes sense now why we're getting this crap. So here you go. The writers of the film, they previously wrote Morbius. That explains a lot. The Power Rangers movie from 2017, never saw it, but I heard people didn't like it. 2016 Gods of Egypt, don't even remember that. 2015 The Last Witch Hunter, and 2014 Dracula Untold. None of these scream major hit, right? Plus, Dakota Johnson said that there were tons of rewrites, changes to the script. I think she said something along the lines that when she was hired, the script changed dramatically from that day to when they started shooting. Star-Lord again with the lines, "With great power comes 50 shades of responsibility." Let's go. I like the web. Hard. All right. So here we go. Madam Web. Critics' reviews are brutal, hilariously bad, embarrassing mess. Here are the most devastating blurbs about the Marvel Sony release, which critics call a new low for superhero debacles and a genuine Chernobyl level disaster. Wow. All right. Hold on 1 second. Woo, sneeze me. Oh man. I think I touched my glasses. I think I touched my glasses. Excuse me for a second. Oh, freaking allergies suck. All right. I think I'm okay. I'll live. Okay. Oh, look, my Amazon package is delivered. Anyway, carrying on. You know a superhero movie is in trouble when even the first reactions from fan sites are scathing. Let's see here. Let's just get to, wait, wait a minute. What is this? Oh, no, they're talking about the Marvels. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Here are some of the reviews here. The Hollywood Reporter. It is an airless and stilted endeavor driven by a mechanical screenplay. Its lack of imagination would be astounding if it wasn't so expected. The film operates on a need-to-know basis, forcing people to explain themselves through inelegantly breathless exposition.
Wow, wow, wow.
First of all, look, I don't consider myself to be a critic. If anything, maybe a pundit is closer to what I would call myself. I don't get to attend as many screenings as a lot of these critics do. Plus, I don't write for any publication or all that. But why do critics feel the need to write in thesis talk? Why can't you just be yourselves? Like, I feel like critics feel that they have to sound so collegiate in their writing in order to show their smarts. It's kind of like everyone has that friend that when you have a discussion with them or when you have a debate, they have to speak in like that debate talk, in that collegiate talk, just to sound smart, when most of the times they don't, or they don't make any sense. Like, I feel like that's a lot of critics out there. Here we go. The Daily Beast. A torturous saga that haplessly spins about in circles, trying to fashion a competent tone or coherent action sequence. No matter its heroine's clairvoyant superpowers, it's a debacle incapable of seeing and thus avoiding its every subsequent misstep. Director S.J. Clarkson, who I heard this is their debut, so rough outing for a debut, stages it with all the grace of a runaway train. Her snap zooms, whiplash cinematography, canted angles, and overly theatrical lighting, turning this prologue embarrassingly comical, full of bad dialogue delivered badly by talented men and women stuck with crummy material and equally lousy stewardship. Sony's Spider-Man universe is now completely lifeless and in no need of resuscitation. That guy went all in on it. Rolling Stone. Madam Web isn't as bad as its somewhat botched promotional campaign might suggest. It is, in fact, way worse. A genuine Chernobyl-level disaster that seems to get exponentially more radioactive as it goes along. This detour to one of the dustier corners of Marvel's content farm is a dead end from start to finish. It is the Cats, the movie of superhero movies. What? Not a single decision seems of sound mind. Not a single performance feels in sync with the material. Not a single line reading feels as if it hasn't somehow been magically auto-tuned to subtract emotion and or inflection. The sole amazing factor of this Spider spinoff is that someone, somewhere, signed off and actually releasing it. A showgirls of comic book cinema.
Yeah!
Wow. Wow.
You blew it!
Unbelievable. That is one of the most brutal reviews I've ever read for anything. And I don't really read reviews. Here's something about me. Because of what I do here and what I would love to eventually do, I would love to eventually be like a true movie pundit, you know, movie reviewer. Someone that can be one day maybe quoted on a movie poster. How awesome would that be? Dreams, right? Wish them and work hard enough, they will come. But I don't read reviews. I don't watch reviews until after I've already seen the movie and done my own take on it. Because I don't want to be influenced by anybody. I know some people have a tendency to read these things or watch reviews and they get influenced. And then when they talk about it, you'll pick up on several things that they've said that may echo somebody else, right? Or they change their perspective because they got too influenced by someone else who said something. So, like, I know people who've watched movies, they had one take on it, and then the more and more they watch reviews on them, the more their take changes, and now it equals and echoes what everyone else is saying. And I don't want to be that. I want to have my own voice. I want to feel what I feel. So I usually don't read reviews or watch a lot of like reviews and people talk about stuff. But from what I did have read in the past, this is brutal. This is so damn brutal. Wow. And this is the Rolling Stone. This isn't like mommy'smovielover.com. This is the Rolling Stone. Jeez. Unbelievable. Madam Web does whatever Christian can. Nice. Very nice. UPI, not to be confused with UTI. You don't want that. A new low for superhero debacles. At least Catwoman and Batman and Robin believed in what they were doing. They were wrong. But Madam Web just feels like a cynical copy of the bare minimum to qualify as a comic book movie. Woof. Collider. Madam Web's writing strains to emulate teenage girls cracking wise with each other or any other kind of positive human emotion. This is a screenplay that speaks in backstory and surface level comic book references, like Sims always being barefoot. It doesn't understand how people actually interact with one another, beyond even those staggeringly amateurish filmmaking flourishes at Madam Web has none of the laughs or thrills that general audiences come to superhero movies for. Much like Morbius from 2 years ago, it's a pale imitation of comic book motion pictures from the past. Yeah, that's something like we were alluding to earlier, where the sentiment, it feels like we're taking a step or 3 steps backwards in time. And it feels like these movies are made very similarly to, I guess I would say, early Avi Arad days, like before X-Men, you know, like those really cheesy, crappy late 90s, early 2000s superhero movies. And I feel like Avi Arad was like connected to a lot of those for some reason. And if you don't know who that is, he is a producer, and there is such a story behind that dude. And most of the projects that he touched back in the day was just garbage. IndieWire, which for a name IndieWire, why are they watching a blockbuster movie? But from its lack of stakes to its absence of style, and from its laughable CGI to its palpable discomfort with the rhythms and tropes of its genre, Madam Web is a superhero movie that feels like it was made by and for people who have never seen a modern superhero movie. Johnson has a rare gift of weaponizing social discomfort into sandpaper dry comedy, and Madam Web threatens to become a real movie whenever it allows its star to reveal in the fact that she doesn't really want to be in it. The characters just stand around and trade perfunctory dialogue in bland locations, sometimes while watching much better movies than the one they're trapped in. I love that line. That line killed me. Or she doesn't really want to be in it. That's so funny. Well, it's interesting too, because if you see some of her interviews, it does sound, she does come across as sounding like she doesn't really care much or think much about this movie. Like she's just taking it like a paycheck, you know? And I had no idea Dakota Johnson was so dry in her delivery in everything. I never saw 50 Shades of Grey, and I never saw really anything she was attached to. But it was her recent hosting of SNL that I came to realize, like, holy cow, she is very much like on that same level as Aubrey Plaza, who I love. I love Aubrey Plaza a lot. I think she's fantastic. They are pretty much on that same dry personality level, and I had no idea that was the case. They should do a movie together, and probably a lot of people go nuts watching it. IGN. Oh, good old IGN. Remember when they only talked about video games? Here we go. Madam Web tries to connect many plots and people together to a confusing yet ultimately bland result. It tries to balance the comedic tone of a modern superhero movie with what could be a more interesting psychological thriller if it invested more time on developing its hero and villain rather than spreading itself thin, trying to connect all of these new versions of characters together. I think whoever's writing this for IGN expected way too much from this movie. I don't know if I would go so far into thinking that it could be an interesting psychological thriller. But okay, it fails as a one-off and a franchise starter, not telling a fulfilling origin story for Cassie, nor giving a compelling argument for the future Spider-Women. The weak dialogue unfortunately stands out, but the few action set pieces harken to the older Spider-Man movies of the early 2000s. Bite your tongue, IGN. There was nothing wrong with the Spider-Man movies of the early 2000s, with the exception of the third one. How dare you? USA Today. One sentence. Worst superhero movie since Morbius. Good job, USA Today. Oh, man. Greasy Films. An embarrassing mess. Talented stars wasted on probably the worst comic book movie I have ever seen. Filled with atrocious dialogue, awkward editing, and all-around laughable structure. I sat there baffled, scene by scene. Someone approve this. The memes will redeem it. Okay. Slash film. I hesitate to describe it as a superhero film. It's more like a pre-origin story. A tale of who various Spider-Women were before they got their powers. Audiences are treated to several flashes forward to the time when they'll be in costume. But Madam Web isn't about how they got their powers or stitched together their outfits. It's merely about the assurance that they will indeed be heroes someday. This may be one of the final films of the superhero renaissance. Enjoy it before it topples over entirely. Now, when I reading this review, I should say, it doesn't sound like they're giving any kind of criticism. It's more like they're trying to defend it in a way. But then at the end, they kind of express their disappointment. And then their impending doom of the genre. Look, I'm going to tell you something. The genre is not going to die anytime soon. They're still going to be making superhero movies. And I guarantee you when Deadpool 3 comes out, or I should say Deadpool and Wolverine, that's going to prove a lot of these guys wrong who are saying the pending doom of the genre and all that. The genre will be just fine. It just needs good movies to come out. And Deadpool and Wolverine may be the movie to show that. It's just Sony is ruining it. For whatever reason, Sony thinks it's a great idea what they're doing here. They are just trying to do everything that they can to keep this license to themselves. I mean, think about it. Marvel Studios is only involved with Sony when it comes to Spider-Man proper. That's it. I'm sure they have some say with what they do in Venom. But I feel like with these other movies, Morbius, Madam Web, I feel like they're just not even bothering. They're just like, all right, Sony, you want to do stuff because you own the Spider property? Go ahead, do that. But anytime you touch Spider-Man proper, we need to chat. We need to touch base a little bit. And they're just shooting shit out there like literally like shit. It's like they're crapping on us as an audience. Like they're going to the theater, every theater where this movie is, they're keeling over, they're just, kneeling down and they're taking one giant dump on all of us. And they're like, ha, thanks for the money, stupids. I predict this week Madam Web will make less than $20 million. That's my prediction for this movie. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think anyone's going to go see this movie. The memes are coming. Beware. That's right. If they're not here already, these memes are going to be off the chain. Off the chain. So yeah, that's a good sampling of the reviews there. They are brutal. Brutal as F. Or brutal AF, I should say. I'm trying to sound hip like the kids, like, hey, brutal AF, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right, stop. Oh, I forget. Every time I press the button, wait a second. Sorry. Spartans, what is our mission? Our mission is to freaking knock down the doors of Sony Studios and say, stop making these movies. My gosh, how bad. All right. So, like I mentioned before, not only are these reviews terrible, because they are, and it sounds like this movie is a hot piece of garbage, but Dakota Johnson has been saying that there were a lot of script changes. So here's the article here from The Hollywood Reporter. Dakota Johnson says drastic changes were made to Madam Web. Madam Web star Dakota Johnson says the film's script underwent some drastic changes after she signed on to the project. The Sony Marvel film has been savaged by critics as one of the worst superhero movies of the modern era. But Johnson, who plays a New York paramedic who developed psychic vision, says the script she originally saw was very different than what was shot and released. Sounds to me like she's trying to make excuses. There were drastic changes made to the script, she told The Wrap with a laugh, and I can't even tell you what they were. Because she doesn't really care. She's just there for a paycheck. It's a revelation that suggests one of two things. The Madam Web script by director S.J. Clarkson, along with Matt Sazama, Burke Sharpless, and Claire Parker, was weakened as it got closer to shooting by creatives second-guessing the original work. Or, heaven help us, the superhero film was somehow greenlit with a major studio with an even worse script than the one currently being ridiculed. God, could you imagine if that's the case? I won't be surprised. I actually honestly won't be surprised. I could see the pitch meeting, them sitting all together and say, all right, we have the Spider-Man license. Hey, guess what? Did you know that there were female Spider-Women? What? Say more. Well, there was, this Spider-Woman and, she kind of worked with Spider-Man, but not really. She had her own universe, and she had this really cute outfit and all. And I think, a lot of people will really like it. That could be like the big seller for Halloween that year. Really? Ooh, that sounds like that would make an interesting thing. Oh, and guess what? There are more than just one. What? There are? Yes, they are. Didn't you ever watch like the Spider-Man animated show and all that stuff? There's a lot of Spider Women out there. And there's this one older spider lady. She calls herself Madam Web. Madam Web? She sounds like she owns a brothel. No, it's not really a brothel, but she does kind of control the fabrics of time, or the webs of time, as we should call it, because it is a Spider-Man universe. Bob, you're brilliant. I love your play on words there. Thank you. But it's not my own stuff. So we're going to do all these things, and then we could make a movie with all of these women in one movie, because women superheroes are the thing. We should focus on that. We don't want to be too woke, but we want to do something with all of these women here. It's like, oh, I kind of like that. So the main character, Madam Web, is going to be the leader of them all. Kinda. She's the one that kind of just sees into the future and kind of predicts these things. And she just wants to make sure that all of these women are safe and sound so they could eventually be the Spider Women that they become later on. And what are they going to be wearing? Oh, that's the best part. We can make them these sexy outfits and all the guys are going to drool over them. And then maybe we could cast some of like the hottest sex symbol stars of the time right now. Really? Can we get Sydney Sweeney? You bet we can. In fact, we're going to pitch to her right now. Who else can we get? I really enjoyed that 50 Shades of movie. I really like that Dakota Johnson actress. You know what? Let's talk to her next. That'll be fantastic. All right, signed, greenlit. I like the story of this. I like the idea behind it. Let's make it happen. What's the script like? Don't worry about it. We'll take care of that afterwards. Sounds good. All right, bye, everybody. That's how you make a movie. Hollywood, folks. Oh, I wish I had a sound effect like da 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 da. Yeah. Star-Lord, it's so woke. Red Sonja is like, calm the fuck down. That's right. Red Sonja came all the way back from the 80s and like, bitch, relax. You guys are going too crazy right now. Oh my God. Oh. I bet you Halle Berry is right now at home just like, at least my movie wasn't that bad. Oh my gosh. Anyway, moving on in this article. Previously, Johnson said she worried certain aspects for the film were not going to be good at all. I've never really done a movie where you are on a blue screen and there's fake explosions going off and someone's going, explosion! And you act like there's an explosion, she told Entertainment Weekly. That to me was absolutely psychotic. I was like, I don't know if this is going to be good at all. I hope that I did an okay job, but I trusted Clarkson. She worked so hard and she has not taken her eyes off this movie since we started. Johnson's performance at least has largely avoided criticism, with reviewers instead focusing on the film's script, special effects, and direction. 17% score on Rotten Tomatoes? Estimated a 25 million 6-day weekend. Oh my God. If they're estimated 25 million, I'm saying it's going to make under that. I said under 20. Let's see who wins. Let's see who guesses the right number. Madam Web cost 80 million to produce. Okay. I'm of two mindsets on that one. One, 80 million for a superhero movie is actually not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's not 200 million level craziness like the Marvels, right? Or 250 million like Indiana Jones. So 80 million, that's not terrible. but it's not going to make that money back. There's no way in hell. No way in hell that movie's making its money back. All right. I got to see Rotten Tomatoes right now. And it's funny. It's funny how this stream has turned into let's shit on Madam Web when I haven't even seen it yet. But I promise you, so after the stream today, I'm actually going to go to the movies and I'm going to watch Madam Web and Bob Marley. Yes, I will put myself through that stuff because I am morbidly curious.
Fuck off!
I'm sorry. But, and I always go into these things with an open mind and open, I just want to see this for myself. I have to. Just like how I went to watch all the Venom movies, not expecting them to be any good. I went into that Morbius movie expecting garbage, and it was. But I allowed myself to at least watch it with as much of an open mind as possible. But come on, you could even tell in the trailers that this was going to be a hot mess. There was no way this movie was going to be any good. All right, Madam Web, Rotten Tomatoes. Even though I have my not so great opinions on Rotten Tomatoes, still it's a site that everyone goes to for stuff like this. All right. Star-Lord, I heard it's basically like Terminator and she rescues girls and runs a lot. Okay. But at least Terminator was a good movie, right? The one thing I love about Terminator, especially the first one, is that it felt really like a horror. Like it was like a horror thriller. And then James Cameron came in and made the second one this full-on action sci-fi extravaganza, right? If it felt anything like the original Terminator and was written as such, I'm sure that would have made it a good movie, right? But it sounds to me like that wasn't the case at all. All right, where do we get? Okay, here we go. I hate that they have this crazy thing on the side here, but let's go. We have some. All right, should we read? Let's just go from the top here. All right, J. Cole of Slant Magazine. Oh, Starlight again. No real superhero action going on. Reviews by Dan Merrill. I'm sure he hated it. I'm sure Dan hated it. I didn't even see it. Madam Web grinds to a halt as it gets bogged down in scene after scene of characters, both good and bad, standing around explaining their backgrounds, hang-ups, and desires. All right. There is something sickly compelling about how disjointed and thoroughly incompetent Madam Web is. Less as so bad it's fun midnight movie, and more studio filmmaking in the 2020s at its very worst case study. 1 out of 5. Okay, I got to read some who liked it. So here we go. 3 top critics here liked it. You have Mick LaSalle from the San Francisco Chronicle. Wait. Hold on. If they liked it, how come they rated it 2.5, 2? Oh, we gave it a B-. See, that's one thing that is confusing me about Rotten Tomatoes. Because of the way their system works, I think if you give anything a 2.5 and above or a 2 and above, they consider that to be fresh. I don't understand how it works. Anyway, Mick LaSalle. For much of Madam Web, even when it turns bad, it's a pleasure to see Johnson in this kind of movie. All right, sounds like he just has the hots for her. Kitty Walsh of the Tribune News Service. It's Madam Web a good movie? Is Madam Web a good movie? No. Is it hilariously delightful? Often. All right. So she sounds like she had a good time. The movie mom, Nell Minow. If you could see ahead like Madam Web, you might fix your future by waiting to see this on streaming. Nice. All right. I'm just going to find anyone who liked it. Okay, we're Mick LaSalle, Katie Walsh. Oh, here. Oh, no. Here we go. Anthony O'Connor, Film Inc. Australia. A strong premise, a talented cast, and some of the dopiest moments on the big screen in recent memory. It's a bit of a mess, although not without its notable moments. Okay. E.J. Moreno, Flickering Myth. In the ecosystem of superhero movies, we need earnestly cheesy films like this to keep things afloat. Something about this mess just won me over.
You blew it!
Let's mold more, shall we? Here we go. Another good one. Deandra Reviews from DeandraReviewsItAll.com. Within 5 minutes of Madam Web, I heard in my head, it's Morbin time. The film spins a really good time by being entertainingly terrible, or what some might call camp. Frankly, after seeing it, I am so ready and excited to watch Craven. Hashtag Deandra Reviews. I feel like Deandra Reviews was recently approved to be a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, and they just want to put themselves out there in like the best light possible. That's how I feel like when I'm reading this. Starlord, sorry, hilariously delightful is not what's in the yeah, exactly. Like I want to know. I would love to know what like that guy, Mr. Who EJ Moreno and Anthony O'Connor. I would love to know what like their top movies are. Oh, John Roca. Oh, okay. Rocco was probably really harsh on this one. I know this guy a lot. All right. Madam Web is a boring and ineffectual film that paralyzes its acting talent with a poisonous script full of laughable dialogue, nonsensical character choices, and unearned moments of emotional closure while not delivering on any of its superhero promise. He was very tactical in this review. I think he could have gone in on it more, especially knowing how he talks. He could have gone in on that more for sure. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. Wait, Alonzo liked it? No way. Hold on. Isn't going to reverse the ongoing decline of superhero cinema, but unlike some of its notable contemporaries, it's strong enough to make its intended sequels feel like promises rather than threats. Huh. That's interesting. I'm surprised Alonzo had nice things to say about it. Or I feel like he's trying to be as optimistic as possible. It sounds to me like he didn't really want to shit on it that bad. That's what it sounds like. All right. RogerEbert.com. You got Christine Lemire. Is it Lemire or Lemire? Anyway, Madam Web is not the unmitigated disaster that its clunky trailer or its calendar spot in February would suggest. Huh? But yet you gave it a 2.5 out of 4. All right, Christy. I'm not sure what's going on there. Ooh, Grace Randolph from Beyond the Trailer. Let's see what she had to say. A new low for Sony's Spider-Man-less movies. Madam Web is connected to the source material in name only and seems more like a bland, watered-down episode of Netflix's Jessica Jones or the CW's Bird of Prey than a professional film. Yikes. Yeah, I'm sensing a common theme, aren't you? Jamie Broadnax of Black Girl Nerds. Madam Web is suspenseful and action-packed with a substantive origin story that really helps set the stage for this franchise to build on future narratives. It's truly a fun ride. And she gave it a 4 out of 5. Wow. Rachel Leischman of The Mary Sue. Filled with the cheesy dialogue we're used to in comics, Madam Web recognizes the origin that it is trying to tell. 3 out of 5. Wow, maybe there's still hope for this movie yet. Hannah Rose of CBR, I think that's Comic Book Reporter, right? Although it gets its feet a little tangled at the start, Madame Web weaves a strong and cohesive narrative, celebrating feminine leadership, a rejection of pessimistic fatalism, and the empowerment that comes with embracing responsibility. I feel like this person is like all woke. The woke agenda. Like she's behind all that. I'm just being silly. In case you didn't know. Dave Lee of Dave Lee Down Under. A clunky, goofy mess. However, there's an ultimate joy in the ham-fisted adventure. Unintentionally hilarious dialogue, corny villain, cringe-worthy moments, lazy Easter eggs, a superb ensemble of cheesy performances led to an ironically enjoyable romp. 3 out of 5. Comicbook.com, Jenna Anderson. For better or for worse, Madame Web further illustrates that Sony's Spider-Man universe has potential when not trying to be a modern cinematic universe at all, and instead being a springboard for the most niche genre stories imaginable. All right. I feel like here's Dan Merle. Okay, Star-Lord, here you go. Dan has his entry here. And Whitney Seibold after it, so I got to read both of them. It's like a love letter to an era of superhero films that people largely want to forget. 5 out of 10. I feel like that is like the nicest way to put it. I'm sure his video review was a little bit more harsh. Whitney Seibold, audiences are now left with clunky, earnest, and weirdly charming oddities like S.J. Clarkson's Madame Web. All right. Yeah, that's it. All right. So that's Madame Web for you. Those are the reviews. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting take. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about this whole week. Memes galore. People are going to go nuts, trying to make fun of it left and right. It's going to be an interesting week for sure. And yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It's basically, it's like, you see a car crash on the highway or some accident and you can't help but just look at it, right? It's what they always say, like, it's a train wreck, it's a car wreck. You can't look away. It's just one of those things where it's just going to be really funny to see all of these reactions coming out. So he's probably referring to Batman and Robin. Yeah. I'm sure it's that. I'm sure it's Catwoman. Yeah, it is kind of overkill when you're constantly using Batman and Robin as the staple of piss poor superhero films. It's like the battered person who is so abused, but you keep coming back to it. It's already overplayed, but it is an example of how things can go wrong, right? Studio interference, piss execution. It's basically the best way to help describe how bad a movie can be, especially a genre movie. But yeah, Batman and Robin's always a punching bag. Now, Daredevil wasn't that bad. Daredevil wasn't that bad. I mean, I kind of liked it. I'll admit it's not a great movie. But Daredevil wasn't that bad. Daredevil had at least a lot more redeeming moments than Batman and Robin. At least in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Nostalgia. I would be interested to watch the Ben Affleck Daredevil again and see how I feel about it, especially the director's cut, because I remember I liked the director's cut much more than the original theatrical run. Elektra, F that movie. That movie, I remember I forced myself to watch Elektra just because I had the hots for Jennifer Garner. I mean, who did it? I watched Alias just because of her. It just so happened that that show was also actually pretty good. But yeah. I'll be interested to see how I feel if I watch Daredevil again. Maybe I'll do that. We'll see. All right. Let's talk about a little bit some of the headlines here. Just some other headlines that stood out. One bit of news that I found extremely fun and exciting and curious about. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Just really curious about. So, news broke out, I forgot exactly when. Around the same time that it was announced that the upcoming season of Cobra Kai is going to be the last one. And how, I guess questions abound on how they were going to move forward with this property. Then it was announced, and there was a video put out, both by Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, who said that they are planning to do a new Karate Kid movie, and they are on the search for who will star as, quote unquote, like the new Karate Kid, or at least the main person in the movie. I remember they put out a video. They're together. They're talking about how they're going to do this huge audition, and they're doing a search to find out who's going to be their lead actor there. Well, it looks like they found it. Karate Kid found American-born Chinese actor Ben Wang as lead in Sony movie. And Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are already on board to reprise their roles from previous installments. So one of the biggest things that stood out to me too was that I guess the Jackie Chan Karate Kid is canon. Which I don't know how I feel about that personally, because I was not a fan of that movie. But isn't Jackie Chan's name in that movie Miyagi also? So are they going to kind of spin it in a way that maybe he is a relative somehow or whatever? Because if you have Ralph Macchio as Daniel, Jackie Chan as Miyagi, it's weird. It's weird that they are connecting those movies and all. Oh, Starlight said Mr. Han. Oh, so his name was Mr. Han. Okay. Then I'm wrong. So that's really interesting that they're combining those two. They're adding that movie into the universe of the OG Karate Kid. It would be great if they could somehow bring, I don't know what's in store for this final season of Cobra Kai. I love this series. I've loved it since it debuted on YouTube. Remember when it was a YouTube series on YouTube Premium or YouTube Red? I think they called it back in the day. I loved it then. And then, of course, when it moved over to Netflix, I was so happy because I felt so strongly that more people should be watching this series because it's so good. And talk about nostalgia. I mean, they knew how to capture that essence of like the 80s without relying too much on it, in my opinion. And I love the spin that they put on the characters there. How you can look at Daniel kind of being like the bad guy, right? And Johnny maybe he caught a bad break and he was just, acting out on it. So I love how they kind of played on those different dynamics and point of views. So really, really well done. Starlet, I remember my first comment to Cobra Kai. Well, what was your first comment to Cobra Kai? Let me know. But anyway, article goes on. The new Karate Kid has been found. Sony Pictures has cast Ben Wang, best known as the star of Disney Plus series American-Born Chinese, to star in its latest installment of the coming-of-age martial arts franchise. The casting comes after a global search that saw thousands of submissions from around the world, with 10,000 entries reported in the first 24 hours alone. According to studio insiders, Wang delivered a standout audition that demonstrated his deep connection to the character. It also helped that he is fluent in Mandarin and highly skilled across many forms of martial arts, including karate, Wing Chun, Kung Fu, Gumdo, Kempo, and Taekwondo. Some of those skills were already showcased on American-born Chinese, as well the well-regarded adaptation of the acclaimed coming-of-age fantasy graphic novel by Jean Luen Yang, and also starred Michelle Yeoh. I have yet to watch that series, and I'm killing myself for it because I loved the graphic novel American-born Chinese. I thought it was a great read, great story, and when I saw the trailers of it coming out, I reacted to them on the channel. I was hyped and super excited to see it. It came out. I didn't watch it. I didn't have time. I almost forgot about it. And now we are where we are. I have to go back and watch that. That's going to eventually be a binge of the week coming up because I really, really want to watch that series. And I heard a lot of people said it was good, but for some reason, I didn't hear a lot of people talk about it, which is strange. Or maybe it just wasn't in my purview or in my radar or in my circle of people that I watch or I follow or I listen to. I didn't hear a lot of people talk about it. So I just found that really, really interesting. My eyes have seen the glory of Cobra Kai. Nice. I like that. That's a good one. Shut up, Alexa. I wasn't talking to you. All right. The new Karate Kid will have Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio reprising their iconic characters from previous Karate Kid films. Plot details are being kept under a bonsai tree. Clever writing, Hollywood Reporter. But the new installment will bring the story to the East Coast and focus on a teen from China who finds strength and direction via martial arts and a tough but wise mentor, or maybe even two. Jonathan Entwistle, known for his well-regarded and award-winning teen television drama I'm Not Okay With This and The End of the Effing World, is directing the feature that has a script by Rob Lieber, whose credits include Sony's Peter Rabbit and Disney's Alexander and the Terrible Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Not sure how I feel about that. I was kind of hoping they would get a better script writer. Because, I don't know. I'm also very curious as to why this director. But we'll see. We'll see. It is still yet to be seen. But yeah, I thought that was really, really interesting to see that now we have our new Karate Kid. And we'll see what happens when that all comes about there. All right. Next bit of news that we can talk about this morning. There was this mini trailer that was released. God, I would love to talk about this whole thing there, but we'll get back to that. For the Oscars, that kind of had Ryan Gosling reply, or kind of not really. I don't want to say reprising his Ken, because he doesn't really look like Ken, but he's Ken enough, right? Ken enough for us. And it's a little teaser promo for the Oscars coming out. So I kind of wanted to watch that. It's like 4 minutes long. I haven't seen it yet, so let's take a look at this. These things are usually pretty fun. And let's see, make sure the volume's there. All right, let's go. I want to make sure we can hear it.
Since the dawn of time, men have been getting lost.
Oh, they're doing the whole Barbie thing.
This is the story of one such dum-dum. He came upon a strange look door.
Hello?
Oh, there she is.
Hey man, what's up? Weird Barbie. Nice to meet. You want to come on in?
Yes.
She's still doing her shtick.
Welcome. You must be midlife crisis, Ken.
No.
Nice.
Everything the divorce, Ken?
No.
Probably should have gone a size up in that tuxedo, Ken.
No, I'm Kimmy. I'm Kimmel. I'm hosting the Oscars and I'm lost and I really need to get back to Hollywood.
Did you find GPS threatening to your masculinity? I have just the thing for you.
Wow, they're really going all in on this whole Barbie tribute, huh?
This is how you you get to Oscars land. Okay, it's a pretty straight shot through the zone of interest, past lives, over anatomy of a fall.
Nice. Little shout outs to all the Best Picture nominees.
How did you get to Carnegie Hall?
You practice, Jimmy. Then it's up the hill to Barton Academy, take a Jeffrey Wright, and go all the way.
Take a Jeffrey Wright. Nice.
I can't remember all this.
I know, you're limited, but don't worry. We're taking the weird wagon.
What's the weird
So
wagon?
they pointed the weird wagon.
Oscars land.
A colorful montage.
I'm sure that's Helen Mirren narrating too, for sure.
I liked your car.
Hey, look, it's even weirder, Barbie. Hey, Bella.
Oh,
She my
poor
cousin.
things.
Really?
Yes.
And welcome to Osage County.
Oh, look, they grow Italian people here.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's funny.
Is that rain?
No, it's Kennard Bernstein.
Nice. Not Stein.
God, what happened to that guy's face?
Oh,
Oh, that poor.
another jab at Matt Damon.
Disgusting, ugly man.
Also to protect your eyes.
Thank you.
Oh, they're not see-through. I can't see.
Oh, sorry, Matt.
Here we are, the Oscars.
Wow. I didn't think we were gonna make it. Thank you
Hey, no problem.
so much. Whoa. Look at this. You know, honestly, now that I'm here, I'm nervous. This is like, I don't know if I can do this. It's such a tricky thing.
Oh gosh.
It is
Yeah, there she is. Oh, is she gonna give a
It's
speech?
literally impossible to host the Oscars. You have to be extraordinary, but somehow you're always doing it wrong. Like, you have to make fun of people, but you can't make too much fun of people.
You gotta be kidding me.
Enough time, but you can't go long, and you are the center of attention, but almost nobody cares you're there.
Oops. Uh-oh. Hold on. I have to stop this. I have to stop this because, of course, it's being flagged for copyright. Of course it is. Thanks, YouTube. Why? Why can't I just react to this? Come on. Boo. Well, I'm sure the rest of it was pretty funny. Now I'm going to have to like cut that out. Oh, thanks a lot, YouTube. And who would be the owner of this? It would be probably ABC, right? Oh, it's Disney.
Fuck off!
Yeah, all right. I guess I'll be watching this on my own later. But that was actually pretty funny. They knew what to target. They knew the audience that they were targeting for that promo. So yeah. There you go. Oh, look at this. All right. Moving on, and hopefully my stream is not getting cut out yet. But first look at Jaafar Jackson, who's cast to be Michael Jackson in the upcoming biopic that's coming out in theaters next year. How crazy is it that he, just from this profile, he definitely looks like Michael Jackson? That is insane to me. That is insane. I believe director for this is Antoine Fuqua, I think. Let me double check to make sure. Michael Jackson biopic. Yeah, Antoine Fuqua. So that should be really interesting to see when that is all said and done. But yeah, again, just by this profile alone, this guy really looks like Michael Jackson. So that's fascinating. By the way, Deadpool and Wolverine, most watched movie trailer of all time with 365 million views. I believe that was in the first 24 hours. Right? Yeah. First 24 hours, 365 million views. Unbelievable. That is crazy. Let's see here. The previous record holder was Spider-Man No Way Home, which launched to 355 million views in August of 2021. So yeah, so that was crazy when I read about that. I mean, I knew. The thing is, it was funny because when it was released during the big game on Sunday, it wasn't getting a lot of views because obviously a lot of people were watching the Super Bowl, right? I knew after the fact that people were going to flock to the internet to rewatch this trailer or watch the full version because they only teased it on Sunday. So that's interesting there. Star-Lord, I love Michael Jackson, the King, but wow, that's a lot of biopics. Yeah. I mean, we are getting in that time of our lives where a lot of these people that we grew up with have interesting stories already to tell. And now we're getting a lot of these, like, I guess, tributes and biopics to them. I've said for a long time, Michael Jackson would lend to a really interesting and great biopic. As, you know, if they're willing to go deep, don't make it all shiny and rosy. Like, you got to go deep. Like, you gotta explore the relationship he had with his dad. You know, how the dad treated him and the brothers. You have to have kind of like the fallout of all that. You know, the whole Neverland Ranch situation. You got to explore that. So as long as they're willing to go deep, I mean, it could end up becoming a really, really good biopic. It's like its own genre now. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like superheroes, right? Like that ended up becoming its own genre too. And if I'm to be honest, there were a lot of biopics that we got that were actually good. Not all of them. Some of them were kind of crappy. Or were okay. Right? Like, for example, I don't know how this new Bob Marley one is going to turn out. But I'm curious to find out. And I am going to check it out today. But, you know, there are some that were put out there that were like Oppenheimer was fantastic. Sorry, I'm just looking at some stuff right now. Just recapping and also just making sure that my stream is okay. Freaking YouTube. I hate when that happens. It's so stupid. Anyway. But yeah. Biopics. It makes sense. I feel like there was a time, maybe in the 80s or in the 90s, where there were also a lot of biopics that came out like around that time. I think it was the 80s, right? Because didn't you have like Gandhi, Amadeus, and if I recall, there were like several other ones that was popular around that time. I only know that because like my mom watched all of them, and I remember her renting the VHS tapes, and we would be watching it at home. So I feel like it's like a cycle, right? It's like it will go on for a while where we don't get many, and then we'll get a lot, and it'll die out for a while, and then we'll get a lot. You know, it's just one of those things. Unlike the superhero genre, it's consistent. I feel like it's very consistent. But yeah. Michael Jackson is Iron Man in the mirror. That's right. All right. I think now is a good time. Let's talk about Binge of the Week. Binge of the Week. Let's go. Binge of the Week. Binge of the Week. Binge of the Week. Binge of the Week. All right. So, like I mentioned earlier, just to manage expectations, I didn't watch a new series this past week or any series this past week. There were some that started that I'm waiting for the whole season to finish so that I could just watch it in one shot. One of them is the new Tokyo Vice season 2 on Max. I love the first season of Tokyo Vice. I love the story behind it all. I never read the books, but I have a friend who read the book and he kept recommending the book to me, especially since I've been to Japan many times. I love the culture. He said, you would love the story behind this because it's crazy. It's crazy to think about that this is actually something that happened. So I love the first season. I can't wait to see what the second season is going to be like. So I'm definitely going to check that out when all the episodes are said and done. But there is one thing I did watch that I want to talk about, and that is that new Netflix documentary called The Greatest Night in Pop. The Greatest Night in Pop is a documentary that kind of recaps and retells the story of the taping and production of We Are the World. That song that got all the major stars of pop, rock, and all of that together in one room to record this song to benefit the Aid for Africa. And this eventually led to that historical concert, Live Aid, where they raised money and funds to feed starving kids in Africa. And this was like a big deal back in the 80s. This was huge. If you didn't grow up during that time, you have no idea how big this moment was. You know, today we go nuts for movies like The Avengers, for example. And that's when you took all of these major superheroes and you combined them into one movie. And I remember when the first Avengers came out, me and my friends afterwards spoke in a circle and we were just like, we can't believe we actually witnessed this. Never in our lives would we ever think that we were ever going to see all of these major superheroes in one movie together. Fast forward, again, mind blown when Civil War came out. And then you had all of these more superheroes forming and then going against each other, but eventually becoming one unit, right? Then you introduce Spider-Man into that mix and forget it. Nerd galore. Nerdgasms all over the place.
I'm gonna come.
So I can equate that feeling for me as a kid in 1985, when I saw all of these major stars in music join together to sing this one song. Like, it was phenomenal. Never thought and never expected I would ever see such a thing. And a lot of people at that time didn't either. Plus, when that song was released, they timed it so that it was released at the same time globally. Never did they ever do that, ever. The only other time I remember they did something similar was when they had that animated special to talk about, was it drugs? That featured the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Garfield, and Transformers, like all of these popular cartoon characters at the time. And they aired it on all the major networks. So it wasn't just like an NBC thing. They aired it on CBS and ABC all at the same time. Because it was a combined effort to teach kids about not doing drugs, I think it was, right? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Starlight said, I'm calling it now. I will bet Deadpool will usher in Avengers 4. Could be. I think Deadpool will actually usher in Secret Wars. And then we could eventually get, I think, another Avengers movie. So yeah. So obviously I remember that moment in time. And I remember hearing the song, hearing it constantly play on the radio for that year. Excuse me, sorry. I'm getting a little froggy. And I remember seeing the music video and then watching Live Aid when it aired on TV. Of course, everyone remembers Live Aid because of that amazing Queen performance. But I remember everyone singing We Are the World. We are the world. We are the children. So I remember seeing all that stuff. But of course, I don't know much about what happened behind the scenes or how it came about. So I actually really enjoyed the fact that I was able to watch this documentary, and it filled in a lot of those questions I had in my mind, or even told me things that I didn't know anything about that now I find 100% fascinating. Like, for example, I knew Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson were tapped to write this song. I had no idea that neither one of them were expecting to perform in it. You know, the documentary tells you that they got Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson together to write this song. They tapped them to write the song a month prior to recording. They only finally got something down on paper. What was it? 9 days to go before recording. So they were definitely like a frantic rush to get this done, because they had to find a way to get all of these pop stars together, all together in a room to record this. And mind you, that this was being done for charity. No one was getting paid for any of this stuff. So they were finding a way to, how can we do this and not blow the bank, right? Because they're thinking we have to fly all these folks in, and maybe those who are on the East Coast, on the West Coast, it'll be easier for them to come over, and blah blah blah, this and that. And then they had to determine who's going to be in it, right? So their whole idea and thinking about it was like, okay, who are the major stars and voices of the genre, each genre? Pop, R&B, rock, country. They went down the list and they started like writing these names down. Fun fact that I didn't know about, they originally were pushing for Madonna, but Cyndi Lauper outbid Madonna. So when they were putting the names together, it was Cyndi Lauper that pushed Madonna's name out of it. Crazy, right? So the interesting thing that they decided to do was, well, the American Music Awards was coming up. Lionel Richie is hosting it. So they decided that they were going, since everyone was already going to be in town for that was the day that they were going to record this thing. Because it's easier. All of their trips are already expensed and paid for because of the awards. So they didn't have to spend really a dime. They just have to secure a studio and usher everyone over. So they were going to usher everyone over after the awards ceremony, which is crazy to think about, because the awards ceremony ended like around 10. So you're expecting all of these people to go over to the studio and start recording after this show. Some of whom performed at the show. You have Lionel Richie, who hosted and performed at the show, right? And Michael Jackson didn't even attend the show. Michael Jackson was in the studio making sure everything was prepared, everything was okay, and he recorded kind of like his solo part already on his own. So he was like the head start, right? And then there was this controversy about Prince, because Prince and Michael Jackson had a semi-rivalry going around at that time, because they were both pop stars, even though you could easily say, well, Prince kind of teeters more towards like rock pop, right? But Michael Jackson has some of that too. You remember Thriller, he really tried to introduce a lot of different genres in that album to get the interest of everybody, right? To placate to everybody. So it was really interesting to hear about that rivalry. So in order to try their best to get Prince to come over, they tapped Sheila E. to come over, because Prince loves Sheila E., had Sheila E. on his tours, did a lot of like collaborations with her. I think there was a little crush there too. And Sheila E. also performed at AMA, American Music Awards, So they tapped her in order to entice Prince to come over, right? So during the whole recording session, Sheila E. was calling Prince and like, hey, I really think you should stop by. This is actually really amazing what we're doing here. And he was hanging out at a club and he didn't commit, right? And it's funny because they kept pushing Sheila E. Oh, call Prince, tell him to come. And she even admitted, because she's in the documentary, she's like, I felt at a certain point that they were just using me. Like, they didn't really want me here, but they only wanted me here in order to get Prince. And it didn't work. Prince didn't show up, which is fine, but it's funny to hear these behind the scenes stories about all that. Plus, of course, you're expecting, and you see that once you have all of these major stars in one studio, of course, you're going to have to deal with egos. And Quincy Jones is like the one who's really leading all the efforts here. It was really Harry Belafonte who came to Quincy and said, hey, I would love to come up with something that we could help raise money and awareness to the starving children of Africa. And we should do it by writing a song. And Quincy and Belafonte were like, yeah, and what if we got all the big stars together to do this? So that's really how it was conceptualized. And it was Quincy who was the one just really organizing it all. He was organizing Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie to write and finalize the song. And then once you're at the recording studio, he's the one kind of dictating and organizing everything. He's like the conductor of it all. Right? He is major producer role at this point. So, of course, he's expecting to deal with all these egos. So he wrote this sign that he pasted at the door when you walked in the studio. Said, check your egos at the door, which is funny. And it was funny seeing like how all of these people are in the room together, many of whom were never had the chance to meet these people before. And it was awkward at first and people weren't sure how to act. And then Stevie Wonder shows up under the impression that they're just writing the song. He had no idea that they were going to actually be performing it. And Stevie thought that he was going to be part of the writing team. So there already, he was kind of like, oh, kind of like, why am I here? But then he's like, all right, well, I'm here anyway. So I thought that was really funny to see how that played out. And then it just sounded like it was a tough recording session, because again, no rehearsal time. You have a bunch of people who've never collaborated with each other before. And they had to make sure that they recorded this that evening because there was no way in hell they were ever going to be able to get all of these people back in the studio for a second day. Most of them were flying out wherever they were coming from. Especially those from the East Coast, like Billy Joel, Cyndi Lauper. They're East Coast folks, right? Paul Simon. So they had to do this all in one day. The recording session went from 10-ish p.m. all the way till 6 a.m. in the morning. Again, details I had no idea about. And that is nuts after already a full evening at the AMAs. Insanity. Starlet's like, years later, Michael made the song They Don't Really Care About Us. Then years later, Mr. Beast hooked Africa up with water wells and repaired schools. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the Mr. Beast saying, and I remember the Michael song. Yeah. I have a friend who actually also, many years ago, he opened up a library in Africa. For the students in one local area, so it's nice, but I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for an initiative like this, things like that would not have crossed people's minds, because this was definitely a moment in time, a moment in pop culture history that kind of led the way, right? And he got crap for it because he's white. Yeah, and that's all bullshit. I mean, come on. That's so stupid. I mean, I get it, right? That was actually something they actually addressed in this documentary too. It's like prior to We Are the World, there was this little collaboration. I think it was called Feed the Children or Feed the World or something like that. That was spearheaded by a white producer. And they got some flack on that too. So this is one of the reasons why Harry Belafonte and Quincy Jones teamed up, because they said, we want to do something for our people coming from us. And it was Quincy's idea that said like, well, we should include some white folks in it too. And Harry's like, that would be brilliant. You know, so I get that, because there would be that kind of discourse, which is so stupid, really stupid. But there would be that kind of discourse. And it kind of shows you how when you go from the 80s to current time now, that still happens. So there's not a lot that has changed, y'all. So whenever you hear people say stuff like, oh, there's no such thing as racism much these days, bullshit. Bullshit. But yeah, so they address similar situations about this. And then some other things that stood out to me. It was Quincy who, after hearing everyone sing and just knowing their library of how they sing, paired the people up that you hear in the solos based off of their ranges. Because I remember back then it was kind of interesting to see, oh, you have Dionne Warwick teamed up with Willie Nelson. You have Cyndi Lauper with Huey Lewis. And I forget who the other lady was. But I never understood why those pairings. But now I know. Because if you think about it and you listen to their songs and the way they sing, they're kind of within that same range. Again, this is Quincy with his musical ears and his mindset. Very fascinating stuff. And it worked out, as you could see. Bob Dylan was kind of like the odd person because his range didn't meet anyone's range. So when you see the chorus and all of them sing together, We Are the World, you see him there, but he's kind of just like mumbling because his range just doesn't meet anyone. And when it came for his solo or his contributions, he had a very hard time. It was Stevie Wonder that helped him. Because he actually went to Stevie Wonder. He's like, hey, Steve, I need some help. Could you help me figure this out? And they worked together and they were able to get him to that point where he felt comfortable and he just did his portion. And he was so grateful and thankful to Stevie, to Quincy, which is so funny to think about because these are people who don't normally work together, which is, again, fascinating. It's so nice to see people get together like that. It's amazing. It's lightning in a bottle. They had one person walk out because, again, this is stuff I didn't know about. Sometime during the recording session, they had Stevie Wonder was making a suggestion. This is when the ego started to flow a little bit, and they had to kind of curtail it. Stevie wanted people to start chanting something in Swahili. So they went through a moment where people were kind of like saying stuff in Swahili, but they didn't know what it meant, right? So Waylon Jennings, you know him as the one who made The Good Old Boys, the song that was in Dukes of Hazzard. Just the good old boys, bing, bing, ding, ding, never mean them. He walked out. He got frustrated and got fed up. And he's like, I don't know what they're saying here. So I don't want to sing anything. I don't know what I'm saying. And he basically just walked out. And that kind of made people like, okay, I think we should like reevaluate what's going on here. So one of the organizers walked up to Steve and said, they don't even speak Swahili in Africa. It's like, I think we shouldn't alienate anyone. And we shouldn't be targeting the people of Africa because they're the ones who are suffering. We're targeting people who can help Africa. And those who can help Africa don't speak Swahili. And I think after those conversations, they convinced okay, that makes more sense. So let's nix it. Unbelievable. I like the Earth song better. Powerful song. Which one's the Earth song? You might have to remind me about that. Or maybe I just don't know the name of it. But yeah. Very interesting facts there. Some other facts that I found very interesting was since Prince couldn't make it, he had a solo prepared for him. So they gave it to Huey Lewis because they felt Huey Lewis had similar range to Prince in a way. And Huey Lewis had no idea. And the minute they gave that to Huey, he was very nervous. And he was last of the kind of solos that they kind of performed because they had everyone like in a circle. The pairings were all in a circle and they kept going from one pairing to another. And what would happen is that if something messed up here, they stopped so that they could redo it. They stopped and they could redo it. And it was Huey who was like, look, I'm waiting here nervous and yet I'm getting no practice. So instead of stopping for each grouping, why don't you just keep going and then get the notes together and then redo what is wrong? And then both Michael and Quincy were like, oh, that's a great idea. And he's like, thanks. So that way he could get more practice in, which I thought was pretty funny. And then during his grouping, there was something wrong with Cyndi Lauper's mic. It kept picking up chatter, what sounded like laughing. And for the longest time, they couldn't figure it out. And it turns out it's because she was wearing too many necklaces. The rattling of the necklaces were interfering with when she was singing. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So she just took off all of her necklaces and then everything was fine. It's amazing because if you're not a musician, if you're not a recording artist, if you've never spent time in the studio, you forget that these are like little nuances that you have to think about. And it's so interesting to just see how all that happened. Another funny moment from the documentary, you learn that Al Jarreau was drunk because during the session or before the session, he started drinking wine. And he drank so much wine that it got to the point when they were finally doing the solos and the groupings that he was messing up a lot because he was so drunk. And they're like, we need to kind of get this done quick or else we're going to lose Al Jarreau. Like, he's not going to be able to ever sing anything anymore. And you heard it. Like, he'll just be like, sing stuff, and he'll be like, and he's just like, what? You see everyone around him like, uh-oh, like, what's happening? So every time Al would, like, get a bottle of wine, Quincy would, like, quietly and sneakily grab it and hide it somewhere so that he couldn't have access to it. Oh, my gosh. It's just so funny. And then they finally got it down and all that. There was a little tiff between Paul Simon and Kenny Rogers because their assigned lines wasn't working out. So they suggested they switch the lines. And Paul's like, but that's my line. And Kenny's like, no, but I think they're saying that it would be better if I sang it. And he could see that there's a lot of possessiveness with their lines. Which I thought was so hilarious. It's so it's like you're dealing with kids, you know. Similar theme to Within Temptation and Nightwish Paradise. What About Us? Earth Song. All right, I'm gonna look it up right now. Obviously, I'm not gonna play it because I don't think I'll be able to. Oh, Earth Song. This is the Michael Jackson song. Okay, yeah, this was from History. That's right. I haven't heard this song in a very long time. I should revisit it for sure. All right. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. But yeah, it was overall the documentary was well made. Really, really well made. I really enjoyed it. It brought back a lot of memories. And again, it just gave you a lot of insights with the making of it, how it wasn't very easy. And you have to think about all the things that they had to go through in order to record this song. And again, no one was being paid because they were filming the video and recording the song at the same time. So you had cameramen in there, you had all the people working the soundboard, and none of them were getting paid for this. You know? And I remember, and they interviewed a lot of people for this doc too. I mean, they had Bruce Springsteen there for the documentary. They had Huey Lewis, Cyndi Lauper, of course, Lionel Richie. They had Smokey Robinson. Yeah, and it was so funny. And they also highlighted the fact that as the night continued, everyone started getting more relaxed with everybody. And then that's when the fandom kicked in, where you had people going up to other artists. You had artists going to other artists saying, hey, could you sign this my music sheet for me? And it just started a cascading effect where everyone was doing it to everybody. I'm such a huge fan of yours, you know, things like that. Those type of sentiments, right? Which you also forget sometimes that even though you're a famous celebrity or musician, that doesn't mean that you can't have fandom for other people too, and their works also. So it highlighted that a lot, which I thought was really funny. Ray Charles was like a big comedian. He was the one that like killed the tension most of the time with his like little quips here and there. But yeah, it was so well done of a documentary that I highly recommend it, especially if you grew up in the 80s like myself. If you're familiar with We Are the World, I mean, yeah, you hear it now, and it does sound kind of campy. You know, it sounds like a product of its time, but at that time, man, this was a powerful song, powerful. Everyone was singing it. Everyone was watching the video. You know, it made a difference. And I forgot the stat that they had about how much money it raised. It raised so much money and continues to do so even today, believe it or not. It's, again, one of those wonderful moments captured in time, lightning in a bottle. And it's great to see like the behind the scenes of that. It's one of those moments where, you know, I kind of wish I was in that room. And a documentary like this allowed it to happen. You know, so yeah, I highly recommend it. I'm sure there are other like tidbits that I'm missing out on, but that's for you to find out on your own when you watch it. So there you go. All right, y'all. I think it's that time. I think it's that time that we end this morning's stream, which is now leading into the afternoon. It is now 1:17 p.m. here on the East Coast. So I think we'll call it a day. So once again, Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Thank you for being my Valentine. Everyone who showed up here live or who came on by for a bit and left. Thank you all for being my Valentine. I really appreciate all of you. As always, I appreciate the support. If you are watching this on a replay, I appreciate you tuning in, even if just for a brief moment. I hope all of you have a wonderful day. And if I don't see you on Friday, I'll be live again this Friday around the same time. If I don't see you, I hope you have a great rest of your week. We're halfway done. Let's make it happen, Captain. Don't forget the usual like, dislike, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Thank you so much. I will catch you all later on Friday or throughout the week with any videos I upload. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that stuff. But I'm going to head on out. Stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. Wish me luck as I go watch Madam Web and Bob Marley. Hints on which will be the better movie. Let me know in the comments. Star-Lord, we are just squirrels just trying to get a nut. Trying to get a nut.
I'm gonna come.
Because at the end of the day, on Valentine's Day, all we're looking to do is...
I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come.
That's right. All right, y'all. Stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. Catch you next time. Peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.